YouTube live streaming sucks. Is switching to YouTube a mistake? Are two actual video titles I posted on this channel after switching to YouTube. No take back, see Susan. I've already spent the money. But that's also one of my favorite parts about YouTube. I can be open and honest and criticize the things I think they do wrong. And that's what I'm doing. I'm criticizing. I'm not just posting L's online whenever I think they do something dumb for easy likes on Twitter, which is exactly what Nick Merckx did just yesterday to the people who gave him a big bag of money, Twitch. Now, to get some context on why he posted this, we have to talk about TwitchCon. If you don't know, it's the big event Twitch used to run every single year before COVID, and now it is back in the States. But until just this past week, they were following CDC guidelines. And if you don't know, CDC is the people in the United States who decide what you can and cannot do. And their guidelines for COVID are, fuck it, baby, it's done. And Twitch has a little bit more of a left-leaning crowd. So after some pushback, they decided to switch the guidelines from that to you now have to wear a mask. You have to show that you have a COVID vaccine or at least a negative COVID test. But they did do all of this after having their tickets online and tickets being sold. So some people were maybe rightfully upset that they had different knowledge when buying the tickets. But I get it. You know, this is TwitchCon 2019. There are a lot of people packed in San Diego Convention Center. You don't want to be the event that's a super spreader. All right. You want to meet Pokey. You don't want to greet COVID-19. But Nick Merckx, in a little context on him, is a person who was signed exclusively to stream on Twitch. He was allegedly paid $30 million. I think this is BS. I think he was paid closer to 20 mil, probably 20 to 25 mil if I had to guess, as someone who has like some knowledge on this. Still a shit ton of money. And he was not as receptive to the change that Twitch made. He posted the L, but we're not making a mogul mail because Nick Merckx posted an L. He also posted this. The M fam, which is his fans, and I will be doing our own thing in San Diego. The same weekend as TwitchCon, they're running a competing event that he said he spent over $300,000 for. And the big kicker, no mask, no vaccine requirements to our events. So he's basically running a competing event, the same place, the same weekend, the same time, with the same group of people who would be interested in both events. Really just kind of biting in to Twitch's cut here. But is Twitch actually doing this from the kindness of their heart? Let's dig into that before we dig into maybe the ethics and morals of what Nick is doing. Now, TwitchCon, if you don't know, usually has about 30 to 35,000 attendees. There hasn't been an event in a few years, and Twitch has gotten a lot bigger since then. San Diego Convention Center is the same place where San Diego Comic-Con is held, and that can hold well over 100,000 people. But I did a little digging, and I bought myself a ticket to Comic-Con, or excuse me, to TwitchCon, just to figure out exactly how many tickets they sold so far. And I found out they'd sold about 15,000. Now, I don't know if those are 1 day, 2 days, or 3 day passes, but that is just under half the capacity they're probably hoping to sell. So part of me thinks they didn't change their COVID requirements because they felt like they needed to do a good thing to protect people. I think they were trying to increase ticket sales. And a thing that probably bolsters that theory a little more is that TwitchCon Amsterdam, an event that happened just under a month ago, had no requirements at all. I think masks were recommended. You didn't need to be vaccinated. You didn't need to have any testing on the site. That was in EU, but it worked for them in EU because EU's a little more relaxed. I think they don't have as many cases as the US, but in the US, to get the ticket sales, I think they tried to switch it up, which is the biggest mistake you can make running an event. Now, look, I think Nick Merckx running on the L for vaccinating train is a bit dumb, but I think it's even dumber to change what you are going to do halfway through an event. All you have to do is make a plan and stick to it. You'll probably have some people who are upset, but you're never going to please everyone. The dumbest thing you can do is try to appease people. I figured that out a long time ago streaming. It's the same problem that Anime Expo ran into. If you don't know, Anime Expo, huge anime convention in the United States. They originally had guidelines that were like, hey, we're going to be strict. You got to wear masks and you got to make sure you're vaccinated. And then they were like, yeah, you know what? We're going to follow LA County guidelines. We'll recommend masks, but you don't need vaccinations. Look at the quote retweets to like ratio. That's tough. All right, that's a ratio and a half, Anime Expo. And so within 24 hours, they reinstated their policies. Here's the thing. You can make any plan you want. You just have to stick to the plan. Now, I think best course of action, if we're talking what we should actually do, if you're running a small event, you can just test everyone. That's easy. I'm super down for events to make sure that people are vaccinated, because why the hell do you want an anti-vaxxer there anyway? I mean, breakthrough cases are going to be high regardless, but if everyone there is vaccinated, good on them. You know, having non-vaccinated people there will most likely hurt them, which I'm also kind of maliciously down for, but that's not the point. I think the greatest thing you can do, and this is what we did at Mogul Money Live, is have a thermometer gun on site. And have someone who actually takes their job seriously, make sure they check every single forehead, and anyone with a fever, you take them to a testing site, and if they have COVID, get them the hell out of there. But at least you make sure that everyone going in isn't sick, and then you recommend masks. But we know as a fact going into this event, even though masks are required, no one's going to be wearing them. It was the same at Anime Expo. I was walking through the hall with Hassan. Nobody was wearing masks. I was trying my damnedest to wear my mask, and I was streaming and talking the whole time. I had to lift it every 5 seconds. But everybody else wasn't doing it. Because what are they going to do? There are volunteers who are making sure people are wearing masks. You're really thinking they're going to go up to 30,000 individuals, making sure they have it snugly fit around the nose? No, it's not going to happen. So the best thing you can probably do is recommend it. Make sure everyone is COVID vaccinated who comes, and you make sure that everyone is at least 98.6 degrees in the forehead, so you got no one who's actually sick walking through. I think it's probably the best course of action. I did see 2 funny tweets about this, though, one from Emma. Why are you complaining about having to wear a mask at TwitchCon so you can look at other men's faces? Seems kind of fruity to me. And then the other one's from Soda, which said, TwitchCon with masks. Don't worry, I'm hosting a massive orgy without condoms. Hashtag dab, hashtag Skrilla, hashtag gang shit. Keep it up, Soda Poppin'. Love that energy. Anyway, that's about all, boys. What do you think? What should events do? What is the best course of action? Should they go full COVID restriction? Should they go full open like Europe is pretty much doing? Let me know. I think just whatever you do decide on doing, don't switch halfway through, because some people get mad, because then even more people will be mad, and you'll look like the biggest loser of all. Sorry to Twitch for the big L in this video. All right, see you later. Have a good one. Goodbye. Subscribe.